The moment you start to identify the situations that make you run away, then you start to identify where or what takes your confidence away from you.
What did moving through all those worlds teach you about reading a room?
That beautiful combination has taught me the power of being anything you want to be, whenever you can be, and however you should be. I built my confidence when I understood what my weaknesses were. When I'm thinking about building or showing up confidently, I look for where or what can easily break me. I find the help, I lean in or I lean on. There's nothing like someone overtaking you, because whatever is there that is designed for you, it'll always be yours.
Did you actually have people saying to you, "You're done"?
Yes, in my face.
How did you get the strength to do that?
One simple question. I asked for help.
Broadcaster, entrepreneur, storyteller, Anita Erskine has spent her career telling Africa's stories, and through Sheros, creating a platform for women and girls whose voices deserve to be heard. Now take me back to the start, because you were born in Jerusalem, raised in Ghana, studied in Canada, a general for a father. What did moving through all those worlds teach you about reading a room?
And let me add, a midwife for a mother. So my entire existence has been about being thorough.
Yes.
You know, when you have an army officer as a father, you've got to be punctual, principled, and thorough. When you have a midwife as a mother, you've got to be intuitive, you've got to be fast acting. And so that really did impact my life, or has impacted my life. Ultimately, that beautiful combination has taught me the power of being anything you want to be, whenever you can be, and however you should be.
Before anyone knew Anita, you started off working behind the scenes in a control room and also a music library. I also worked in a music library, logging the music for a news show at the time. So what was it like for you starting behind the scenes?
I mean, listen, I'm going to be very honest. I was in that media space. I was in that radio space or television space, hoping that one day I would be in front of a microphone or I would be in front of the camera. So at that time, during that youth of my life, I didn't see the value of being holed up in a tiny room, having to catalog music or having to catalog episodes of a soap opera that I would eventually host, of a talk show that I would eventually host. Only then did I understand the importance of knowledge, the importance of having the ability to research, the importance of reading, the importance of your language being founded on or by what you know, what you've seen, what you've learned. And I learned these in the control room, and I learned these in the music room. You know, when you're cataloging or when you're having to read summaries of shows coming up, you are absorbing knowledge. Of course, at that time I didn't know, but later I realized my ability to show up and speak, my ability to quickly, change the conversation and still make it relevant was powerfully founded by the behind the scenes work.
So it really was that training ground. And most people think that to command a stage or to be in front of people, to have a voice, you need to be an extrovert. But you're an introvert. So how does it work for you?
I am a communications professional. I am a media professional. My work is usually in front of people, is public facing. That's the work. And that's the work that I have chosen to do, where I apply my skill, where I apply my knowledge. The person behind the work is one that doesn't necessarily want to be in the limelight all the time, one that doesn't necessarily want to be amongst hundreds of thousands of people. And you are allowed to be these two different people. Again, I wasn't sure what the definition of that is, because how can you be a public figure and yet say you are withdrawn from you like to withdraw from crowds? But with maturity and with time, I started to understand that skill, profession are not the same as person or personality. They're not. And I started to learn that I am allowed to show up and deliver on the stage or in boardrooms. And I'm also allowed to be Anita, who loves that moment of solitude and quietness with maybe one TV show or with a very good book, as opposed to spending my free time in the middle of a joyous crowd, if I may put it that way. So I think That is how it works.
So parts of it is, it's not just performing, like you said, it's just being your real self. And we need that authenticity. How does someone actually stop performing and show up as themselves?
When you understand the assignment, you learn it, you prepare for it, you read about it. Your curiosity or your interest in the assignment should lead you to poke, to ask questions, and these allow you to show up, learned, allow you to show up knowledgeable, allow you to show up prepared. I'm still the same person in essence. So there is authenticity in it because the same person is the one that is still curious, is the one that is still invested in the conversation long after it has left the stage. I don't become an actress when I'm on stage pretending to be interested in what I'm doing. I am the real Anita Erskine on stage because I am interested in what I'm doing. I am committed to it. So it doesn't mean that I'm a different person necessarily when I'm not on stage. The interest continues. The conversation still means a lot to me. And that is the foundation, or that is where my authenticity truly lives.
Like you said, the authenticity is in that interest, the love of what you do. And also you need to have that confidence. And confidence gets talked about like it's a personality trait, but confidence is something that can be built, and you've built yours.
I built mine. I built my confidence when I understood what my weaknesses were. I think confidence is the approach to your weaknesses or the voids in your life with the power, with the vigor, with the resilience to find the help, to lean on or lean into the help or the assistance or, the education or the instruction that allows you to stop the weaknesses from crippling you, from crippling every single thing you're working towards. My confidence came from understanding how I learn. I wasn't the best student in school, but I struggled with education, not in its existence, but in how I was being taught. So I had to teach myself how to learn. And teaching myself how to learn helped me identify what the weaknesses in my learning were. And that is what then gave me the confidence to be able to rebuild this person that I call Anita. When I'm thinking about building or showing up confidently, I look for where or what can easily break me. I find the help, I lean in or I lean on. I fix that weakness. If I can't fix the weakness on my own, I bring the person or I bring the element that can fill that void of my weakness. And then, only then, Lisa Marie, am I able to say, I am confident.
But for someone who might not know what their weaknesses are, where do you feel like is the first place for them to start identifying what those are?
Look for that thing that makes you want to run away. Look for that thing, that element. It could be a person, it could be a space, it could be a function, it could be a skill that makes you run away. But though it tempts you to run away, deep in your gut, you believe it is something you want. It is something you need. It is somewhere you want to be. The moment you start to identify the situations that make you run away, or the people or the issues or the areas that make you run away, but you ask yourself, am I running away because I can't? Am I running away? Why am I running away? Then you start to identify where or what takes your confidence away from you. So that's what I did. Again, disclaimer, I'm not a psychologist, but I can only share my experience. What I did was ask myself, Anita, why don't you want to take on this opportunity? Anita, why don't you want to speak to this person? Anita, why don't you want to go into this space? Anita, why don't you want to explore this opportunity? It's because of the fear that I would be a mess, or I would throw it away, or I wouldn't know how to show up. So that is how you identify your fear. So on one hand, it's the thing that makes you want to run away. But on the other hand, it's the thing that says, though I'm running away, I really want it. I really believe in it. I really crave it. I really want to be in that space. Then you know what is taking your confidence away, and then you work towards it. But don't try to find and figure out your confidence on your own. Do not.
A lot of what you're saying is actually about trusting your gut. But how do you know if it's intuition or if it's fear that's speaking?
Intuition is
I would like to further understand. I would like to know. If I can know and I can understand and I can appreciate and it doesn't work for me, then I know, you know what? Intuitively, I think, no, it's not great. Fear is, I don't want to know. I don't want to hear. It's just, I'm panicking, just thinking about it, and I just want to run away. That is fear. So that's how I know the difference between when I'm being intuitive or when I'm being fearful. When I'm being intuitive, something says, yeah, it might not, but can you figure out why? It might, but can you figure out how? Fear is, I don't want to know. I'm gone. Just don't talk to me about it. I'm gone. That's how I differentiate the two.
And we're constantly bombarded with so much that's going on in our lives, family, career. There's a lot of noise, but there's also that power in that inner voice and trusting yourself. How do you start hearing it over all of that noise?
Ego is noisy. Ego is noisy. Because ego convinces you that you have to have everything. You have to be everywhere. No one can take over. You've got to have it all at once. If you can park ego for just a minute, you start to realize that there is power in being relevant sometimes, but there's also power in being quiet other times. Quiet time doesn't mean you're not being relevant. Quiet time could, for you, mean you need to step back because you are going to accelerate. Before you accelerate, you've got to take 2 steps back to understand, to learn, to seek guidance. Sometimes you are the forefront. Sometimes you are the most powerful. Other times you are behind. It doesn't mean you're less powerful. It just means that when you are quiet, you are amassing the kind of resources to allow you to come back, like I said, to accelerate. There is nothing like someone overtaking you, because whatever is there that is designed for you, it'll always be yours. But it can only be yours if you are always the best version of yourself. And you can only be the best version of yourself if you're able to block out the noise.
Many of us have had moments that test us. And you had a time where you've spoken about being counted out because you fell pregnant and you got married. People assumed that it would stall your career. It didn't. But what did having people underestimate you change within you?
I have to be very honest and transparent. They got me where they wanted me at that time because I'm human. I'm not Superwoman. I'm not Superman. I'm human. And so when people say things about you and you start to see your environment and you start to think, oh my goodness, it is true, they get you. I've got the power of a beautiful family. In that moment when I was discarded, disregarded, told many times that you're done, asked many times, why would you get pregnant? Why would you get married? I mean, your career is really booming.
Did you actually have people saying to you, you're done?
Yes, in my face. Said nobody gets married in this industry and comes back. Who wants to deal with a pregnant woman? Who wants to deal with a mother of one or mother of two? Who even wants to deal with a married woman? You wouldn't even have time to do the exciting things and the things you're supposed to do. So Anita, you know what? You're done. Yes, Lisa Marie. Yes, yes, yes. Not once, not twice, countless occasions, on countless occasions. But in there, that silence, I ask myself, how many women go through this? How many women are told that if you make a choice to pursue that which I believe nature gave you, you will not be able to pursue the other side, which is your personal or your professional ambition, or which is your professional ambition. And that is where I started to build conversations about women, about agency, about empowerment, because the silence allowed me to see that, it wasn't as small as I may call it. It wasn't a little tiny opportunity. It was a huge opportunity because I have the platforms. I have the microphones. I have the cameras. This was happening to me, though being a person of influence, being a person of a certain kind of status. And I said, if this can happen to me, then what is happening to those who don't have a fraction of what I have? And that is where I started to learn that, Anita, if you let this painful experience go to waste, then you have missed
your calling, then you have missed that which you were created to do. So it's happening not to you, it is happening for you. And this phase of evolution, having your children, being sidelined to some extent, is an opportunity for you to understand what's really going on. Because if you are oblivious to it, now you are in the pit of it. But you've got to use this opportunity to turn it into something that is beneficial to those who don't have what you have. Because you can bounce back, and you will. And I did.
And you bounced back even stronger. And that led you to create Sheros with the idea of just helping one girl or woman. And that's just gone on to help countless people. How did you get the strength to do that?
One simple question. I asked for help. I asked for help from my colleagues who still believed in me. I asked for help from some superiors who absolutely believed in me. I asked for help from my family. I asked for help. I knew I couldn't do it on my own. So Lisa Marie is as simple as possible. Simple. I asked for help. I asked for technical assistance. I asked for content assistance. I asked for, I was consulting for a TV and a radio station. I asked them for assistance. And they said, yeah, sure. Bring it. We are not really sure how it's going to go, but by all means, bring it. I asked for help. And I realized, though I had the burn in my belly, though I was filled with the inner and innate desire to bring that conversation about women and how we need to help women to the fore, I couldn't do it on my own. So Lisa Marie, I asked for help. I tapped into my own skill. Of course, I tapped into my passion, but 80% of it, I can boldly say, was dependent on the women, men, institutions that said, yep, we believe in that. We'll help.
Has there ever been a big opportunity that you wanted, one you were chasing, but deep down you knew it wasn't right for you, even when parts of you tussled with it? How did you know to let it go?
And they continue to happen. Intuition. But I know it's not fear because I poke, I ask questions so that I can eliminate judgment or eliminate assumptions. But something deep in my gut tells me this is not for me. I usually don't make that decision right on the spot. But right on the spot, what happens is a little voice says, no, Anita, ask more questions. Don't just accept it. There is a little bit of something. Understand a little bit. Seek guidance a little bit on this. That's intuition. So, and again, the combination of learning to let things go and appreciate that there are certain opportunities that are not mine. No matter the size, no matter who's going to be in the room, no matter who's in the front row. Lisa Marie, I have become a custodian of a spirit, if I may put it that way. It sounds, but it is what it is. That can say, this opportunity is not yours. And I have no ego, or at least I do have ego, but in these instances, ego doesn't overtake and overrun and overwhelm me. I'm able to say, based on what I've seen, based on what I've learned, based on what I know, based on what you've told me, I'm not available for this. But I'm more than happy to help you find the right person for it. And then I let it go.
And everyone wants the rise, but nobody talks about the fall. Take me to one that tested you the most.
When I left mainstream media, mainstream media comes with the bells and the whistles. And, you are the forefront and your name is in everyone's room. It's a popularity contest. When I left mainstream media, assuming I left on a Friday, I remember Monday, not a single phone call. Prior to this, you're mainstream media, so everyone needs you for something. Everyone wants to be affiliated with you. Everybody wants a favor. Everybody wants this. So your phone's ringing around the clock. And that phone ringing, it's almost akin to, you are very popular. You're very wanted. You're very needed. Monday, crickets. I had to pick up my phone a few times to make sure that it wasn't, the silence wasn't on. But it was still working. And then that evolved into clients, potential clients that I mean, brands and companies that I've had interactions with, I'd had certain kind of affiliations with in media, not really being interested in a proposal or so. And the downhill was really sharp. But it wasn't downhill skill-wise. It was just downhill. It wasn't even downhill professionally. It was just the phase coming to an end. But I didn't understand it. So I felt that was losing everything. And I lost a lot of money trying to keep up, building, new projects and stuff like that, pumping money into it, speaking to a client and they think they want something. But even before I can sign the contract, I've pumped money into it. I lost money. I lost vim and vigor, if I may put it that way. I lost a lot of courage. What I didn't understand, I didn't leave mainstream media because I had to. I left mainstream media because a new phase of life was happening for me. And I was I thought using that same or keeping that same amount of popularity or relevance is what should carry me into my next phase. And it was not. And that's where I fell hard. For at least 2 years, Lisa, I was down and I didn't understand it. But towards the end of that, I had a conversation with my dear friend Bianca, who was also my business partner. I said, why is this happening to me? I'm not a bad person. I've been very diligent. I've been very committed. People have called on me and I've rushed to them. And, in that conversation, we both understood. So maybe it's not that you're down on your luck. You're not losing things. Yeah, maybe you made the wrong decisions because you think you've got to maintain something, a status quo, which no longer serves you at this point. Maybe it's just time to open up to evolution. Maybe you are just becoming. And she was right. Here I am now. I was just becoming, and I didn't know it.
When you think back on that decision to leave mainstream media, can you imagine what you think your life would have been if you stayed there compared to what you're doing now?
I think I would have become a very unhappy version of Anita. I would have become a different version of Anita that people wouldn't have enjoyed. I think the amount of commitment that I am known to give projects that I'm passionate about would have dropped tremendously, and that would have been a shame. I think that natural desire to show up every day, the best version of myself, would have fallen through the cracks. And ultimately, I think I would have let a lot of people down because my entire approach to everything would have changed. I would have given them an imposter, and they would have been heartbroken at how I have become someone they don't recognize. That's what I know. So though I didn't have all my ducks in a row, I knew I was better off walking with the ducks that I had at that time.
And you trusted yourself, and that has led you to create the life that you live now. Now, with everything that you've built and knowing what you know now about owning your worth and your authenticity, what do you wish when you look back, the 25-year-old Anita would know that you know now?
I wish at 25, I knew that people can see power in you, but because they know you don't know your power, they're going to take advantage of it. People see worth in you, but because you don't know your worth, they're going to take advantage of it. People can see skill, but because you can't see it, they're going to take advantage of it. Lisa Marie, it's as simple as that. At 25, I didn't know all these things. I didn't know that power belongs to me. And when someone claims to be the reason I am who I am, they are wrong. But at that time, I thought, oh, I'm so grateful. Skill. I mean, I love to work. I love to serve. I love to help. I love to be there for people. I love to uplift. At that time, though I knew I loved it because I'm still the same person, people took advantage of it. And I didn't see when that advantage was being taken off. The difference between Anita at 25 and Anita now at 47 is ownership. Now I own it. At the time, I had it, but I didn't own it. Now I own it. And through all of these, I'm able to be the best version of myself as many or as often or as much as I can. That's what I wish the 25-year-old Anita knew.
For someone who's watching or listening to this, who's brilliant, but keeps shrinking themselves to fit in a room, what do you say to them?
I say to them, I would love to help you discover why you keep shrinking yourself in the room. Because I've been like you many times than you can believe or even appreciate. I've been there where, as present as I was, I wished I wouldn't be seen. I wished I wouldn't be heard because I was intimidated by conversations, by people, by a system, by a space. If you find yourself shrinking in that room, it's absolutely normal because it happens to the best of us. But there's light at the end of that tunnel. And that light is in you coming forward, owning that it is a weakness and asking for help. And people like me are more than happy to help you because I know what it feels like. I know what it feels like to be a nobody in a space where you really want to be somebody, or to even be in a space that you thought, I don't deserve to be here. But listen, no matter who you are, no matter who you think you are, we are all deserving of a space. We are all deserving of our dreams and our ambitions. But you can't do it on your own. You can't discover it on your own. You can't be it on your own.
You have to step outside of your comfort zone because that's where real change begins. Now, Anita, I want to just do a quick fire. So the first things that come to your mind.
Should I be afraid?
What do most people mistake for confidence?
Loud voices. A lot of people think if you can speak louder, if you can be heard, it means that you're confident. But half the time, being able to say things that make sense to people and move a room consciously, cautiously, with the guidance of true knowledge is where your true confidence expresses itself or your true confidence is seen, but not in the loudness of your voice or that you want everyone else to be quiet so that you can literally be the only one heard. That's not confidence. That's bullying.
What are 3 ways to instantly feel more confident?
Discover what your true weakness is. Discover why you like to run away from situations. And discover who you want to be. When you have these 3 outlined, you know exactly how to pursue the next stage or the next level of discovering the true version, the powerful version, the authentic version of yourself.
Intuition or fear? How do you tell?
Intuition is layered with a desire to know more, a desire to understand why that thing is poking at you so much. Fear stops right there. It's cold. It tells you to run away. Even without understanding, it tells you to run away and not look back.
What should women stop apologizing for?
For making the decision to be the best versions of themselves or themselves, being ambitious, being resilient, being educated, being accomplished, being soft, being vulnerable, being beautiful, even being the only woman in the room sometimes. Because you should be whatever you want to be at any given point in your life. Listen, sisters, and I'm just going to say this on this podcast, and forgive me if it's offensive. If you want to pursue your career and you don't necessarily want to settle down and have children, as long as it is your decision, it is yours, and you find the best version of yourself in that, do it. If you don't want to become CEO because you want to be a family woman and you know that you want to choose family over work, do it. As long as it is your decision, as long as you have agency over that decision and that is which makes you most happy, do it. Women can be anything and everything they want. Yes, it's true, maybe not at the same time. But as long as that decision is bringing out the best version of yourself and you find yourself laughing and joyful and happy, don't apologize for it.
It's key. You have the agency over your life and you don't need to apologize for whatever decisions serve you best. Can you suggest 3 ways to find your voice again?
Find silence, because the voice that you're about to discover is layered, but you need the silence to understand what you want your voice to serve. Why and who took your voice away from you? How did your voice lose its stature, its texture? Once you can understand all of that, and you can also marry it with what purpose you want your voice to serve, then you can find your voice again. And you can find, more importantly, where your voice is needed and where and for whom it needs to apply.
What would you say to someone who feels invisible but knows they have more inside of them?
It's okay to feel invisible. It's better that you know what's inside of you. But the question is, why are you invisible? Why do you want to be invisible? Why is the situation making you feel invisible? If you can answer all these questions, then you start to understand the strategy towards making yourself seen, felt, heard. But you need to ask yourself, why don't I want to speak up? Why don't I want to be heard? Why don't I want to be seen? Why am I so afraid? And the moment we start to tackle the answers to this is when you start to see and feel, wow, I crave being heard. And finally, I crave being seen. But if you are invisible today, understand, it's okay. We've all been there, and there's a way to deal with it, one solution at a time.
Anita, thank you so much for taking the time to come onto the Executive Edit podcast. You've provided so many gems. So I really appreciate you taking the time.
Lisa Marie, you are a wonderful person, a great sister. I'm glad our paths continue to cross, and I'm grateful for this opportunity.